You're listening to The Lyndia Grant Show. Think on these things with Lyndia Grant.
Well, good evening, Radio 1 listeners. Thank you for tuning in to The Lyndia Grant Show. Today is Friday, and we're going to be here with our own Dr. Julianne Malveaux. She just came back from the Democratic National Convention. We all partied here at home, and she was in there partying with the crowd. So I want to tell all the WYCB listeners, tell everybody to tune in. You might hear some stuff that went on that we didn't get a chance to see. Dr. Julianne Malveaux is a speaker extraordinaire. She is past president of Bennett College, one of the two emeritus. She was a dean at Cal State Los Angeles, speaker all over the country, author, and we thank God that she's going to be here with us today. She's going to do the whole show. So we'll talk about 10 minutes and go to a commercial break, and then we're going to come back and finish. She can tell us even what's going on in the news right now, which today I heard a lot of stuff. So, Dr. Julianne, welcome back. How are you today?
I am great. Thank you, Lyndia. Happy to be here with you. And I just, oh, gosh, it's such an exciting time in our country, isn't it?
Yes,
and I'm just enjoying it. I was at the Democratic National Convention from last week, Monday the 19th through Thursday the 22nd or 23rd. I can't keep up with my days. But it was a celebration of joy. It was exuberance. People were up. I've been to every Democratic convention since 1976. Then I was a graduate student, and a sister just pulled me out of the slush pile. She was a Jimmy Carter delegate, and I was saying, I don't know about that. She said, come go with me. And I got the bug, and I've been at every convention ever since in one capacity or another, sometimes as press, sometimes as a delegate, sometimes simply as an observer. But I enjoy these conventions so much, it really gets you a sense of democracy in the making. But let me tell you, this one over the top, off the chain, even better. Someone said to me the other day, was it better than 2008 with Obama? And I said, yeah, it was, because there were so many black women invested in Hillary that some of them took to their beds and cried when, they knew it was going to happen, but they didn't like it. But this one, everybody was on board. It was all hands on deck. And Monday night with Michelle Obama, Barack Obama, ooh, girl. And, Michelle used to say, if they go low, we go high. This time she said, if they go low, I'm going to take off my earrings. Because she definitely threw down. She talked about the previous president and the damage they had caused to her family. She was amazing. But they all were. It was just exuberance. And that Monday night, I had to just take a minute to talk about Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson, because I went in there was a celebration for him on Sunday, the night before, at Rainbow, the Rainbow Push headquarters, where the Nation magazine had basically sponsored a celebration for him. And, I mean, everybody who had ever had anything to do with Reverend Jackson was there. And many had the opportunity to speak. Reverend Sharpton, I'm sometimes a Sharpton critic, but he did his thing there. He really did his thing there. And so many others did. The colored girls, Mignon Moore, who was the chair of the Democratic Convention, Mignon Moore, Leah Dowtry, who was the chair of the Rules Committee and gave an invocation, Yolanda Caraway, who was the head of podium operations, which means that you see people moving in and out. That was her. Donna Brazil, of course. Donna says she doesn't have any official role, but she always does, and people always want to see her because of the work that she does. They were, I think I mentioned them, Mignon, Leah, Yolanda, Donna, Tina Flournoy was the other one. And they have that book for colored girls who considered politics. They were just shining, but everybody was shining. The energy, Lyndia, was so high. Young Jasmine Crockett, I just adore her. That's the one gave Marjorie Taylor Greene the 5 Bs.
Yes.
We all had to add another one, Butch, Bill, whatever. She's a rising star, and she's just as smart and gorgeous and all of that. And she's getting brickbacks, of course. Everybody is. But the Monday night, other than Reverend Jackson, we have Hillary spoke, AOC spoke, Jill Biden spoke. And what they did so skillfully, and we have to give Mignon and the producers credit, they combined seriousness with entertainment. Mm-hmm. So if you were watching, you had a good time. You had to have a good time. If you didn't have a good time, you didn't want to have a good time.
That's right.
Each day had a theme, and the themes were all future-focused, a bold vision. Tuesday night, there was Stevie Wonder. Girl, there was Stevie Wonder, who gave his political speech, which wasn't scripted, before he sang. The entertainment was amazing. Now, I'll tell you what was funny. People kept saying Beyonce was coming on Thursday. I said, Beyonce ain't coming. Save her for the inauguration.
Right.
Because why would Kamala have Beyonce take this attention away from herself? Not that she's selfish, but it's just something to think about. But there was great entertainment. One of the funniest things was, of course, it wasn't funny. It was the roll call. I have never seen a roll call like that before. Usually a roll call, now the state of Mississippi has 6 delegates. It said at a very sonorous tone. They had music for every state, music that went for every state. They were dancing. People were dancing. It was just a lot of fun. And that was what it was. It was a lot of fun. And, when you contrast the joy and the fun with the other people, you just get a sense of, what's the opposite of fun? Joy, wretchedness. And that's what we were getting from that administration and that Republican convention. But here you had nothing but people grinning, smiling, even though, behind the scenes there's always a little something. But people were really not grousing. People were not angry. People were even, I stood in a line one day that was an hour-long line. And, I don't like lines. Nobody does. But the thing about that line, it was fun. People were talking and chatting. A gentleman offered me a water. He had a tote bag full of about 6 waters. And I said, what are you doing with all that water? He said, I'm offering it to people. Would you like one? Isn't that thoughtful?
Yes, it is. Yes, it was.
That's kind of where people were coming from. Our D.C. folks were there. Eleanor Holmes Norton, we saw her. We saw the D.C. Democratic Women's Club. The sisters there were there. People were there, and they were just enjoying it. They were just having a really great time. Now, it wasn't perfect. Nothing is ever perfect. My biggest problem was with the transportation and the amount of lines, not lines, but walking. There's a lot of walking. But it was good. The other thing was, of course, though, the Palestinian community was not happy. They were very unhappy. They had an Israeli couple whose son is being held as a hostage. And they gave them airtime, and they took a lot of airtime. They took maybe 6 or 7 minutes, which is a lot of time in the context of a convention. The woman was very theatrical. She cried, and her husband held her hand. And I'm not criticizing them for their emotional response, but they're Palestinian children who were killed also. And the Palestinian Democrats are simply asking for a slot on the program, and they were denied. And they were very upset about it. And I believe that, unfortunately, the Harris-Waltz ticket is going to pay a price. They're the folks who are uncommitted out of Michigan, and they say they won't vote. Now, the vice president did a very good job at her speech, 37 minutes, compared to the rambling and whatever time the previous president spent at his, but 37 tight minutes. She started talking about her family. She moved on to talk about policy that would help families. She moved on to talk about foreign policy, and that is one tough cookie, and you could tell it. She said, I'm not going to play with dictators. I'm not going to play with despots. And she delivered very forcefully, and it was really, really great. So you could get a sense of what kind of president she would be from that speech, and it was utterly, utterly fantastic. But as I said, she did in her speech talk about Israel. She said, we'll always stand with Israel. I disagree, but that's what she said. And then she went on to say, and the Palestinians have a right to exist as well. But that was not enough for the uncommitted, and we have to be very cognizant that they are angry, they are Democrats, they were not treated fairly as far as I'm concerned. Now, on the other hand, they were disruptive. you know, but that's what protests are. Protests are disruptive. And because of some of their threatened protests, there were barricades all over the place. There were some places you couldn't get to, but that's okay. Mm-hmm. That's okay. They have that right. But as I said, it was unpleasant at some levels. But you know what? We're unpleasant when we have civil rights protests too. And the fact is that they were insisting on their right to speak, and they didn't get it. And I feel badly that they didn't get it, but I do understand what was going on.
Let's go to the commercial break, and then we'll come back, and then we'll finish up the second half. All right, we'll go to commercial break, and we'll be back in a moment.
If it wasn't for my care coach at AmeriHealth, I probably wouldn't be so healthy right now. As a man, you know we don't get checkups or see a doctor regularly anyways. It's probably just a man thing because none of my partners go either. We know we should, but we just don't, and hope it works out.
So what changed for you?
AmeriHealth assigned me a care coach, somebody that gives one-on-one help, answer questions, explain things, and help set my appointments. She also helped me understand what having high blood pressure really means and ways to manage it so it doesn't kill me. It ain't nothing to play with. If you're a member of AmeriHealth, ask for a care coach. I'm glad I got mine.
At AmeriHealth, if you need a care coach, you can have one. Just call us at 1-877-759-6224 to get connected. 1-877-759-6224. This program is funded in part by the government of the District of Columbia Department of Healthcare Finance. Mayor Muriel Bowser.
Washington and former religion columnist Lyndia Grant.
Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on a segregated Montgomery bus. In lectures on brotherhood, Ms. Parks often said, "People always say that I didn't give up my seat because I was tired." But that wasn't true. I was not tired physically. I was not old. I was 42. No, the only tired I was tired of giving in. Driven out of Montgomery by harassment and death threats, Detroit, Michigan became her new home. Rosa Parks will always be remembered as the mother of the civil rights movement. Raised in the AME church, she once said, "I remember finding such comfort and peace while reading the Bible."
Read more in the religion column of the Washington Informer, an award-winning African-American newspaper. We don't report crime or gossip, just positive news. Pick up the Washington Informer or visit us online at washingtoninformer.com. Call 202-561-4100 for more information.
This is Frank Smith with the African American Civil War Museum in Washington, D.C., located at 1925 Vermont Avenue Northwest on the Green Line. Did you know that a recent study found that children who visit museums do better in school and in life than children who do not? So parents, teachers, and preachers, let's get moving. I promise you, if you bring your children to the African American Civil War Museum, they will be inspired by the images that they see. They will be impressed by our living history reenactors who are always available, and they will be involved in our scavenger hunt that takes them throughout our exhibit. That's the African American Civil War Museum, 1925 Vermont Avenue. Our hours are 10 to 6:30 on weekdays, 12 to 4 on Saturdays and Sundays. See it. Be inspired.
And we are back from our commercial break. We're going to continue to talk to Dr. Julianne Malveaux with her conclusions about what happened at the Democratic National Convention and then what's going on with this upcoming debate that's been on TV all week. All right, Dr. J, go ahead and continue.
All righty. Well, what I would just say is that this was a very mindfully intergenerational conference. They had the young people who are podcasters, the content creators. They had a group called Republicans for Harris. And many of them, Stephanie Grisham, who worked for former president for many years, was also the assistant to Melania. Many others, they came up and they said this man is simply, the former president, simply unfit for public office. And they had lots of reasons. What we know is that as Vice President Harris is seeing an upswing in popularity and energy, the former president, Trump, is unraveling. His behavior has been unacceptable. He has called her out of her name I don't know how many times. He has called her a low IQ individual. Hey, she has a lot to do. What she got to do? And he has just been rude. But his rudeness has sparked others who have chosen to be rude in a way that is sexist, misogynistic, and racist. There's some white men at the University of South Carolina who are having a roast of her on September 18th, and their thing says roast cumula, C-U-M-U-L-A. They pronounce it with sexual overtones. There's some young sisters at the USC who are saying, oh, hell no. They're fighting to make sure that this doesn't happen on their campus. But the president says these people have the right to their free speech. Well, your free speech does not allow you to denigrate black women. And that's what they're doing, and the president stands by them. Then there is Jesse Waters. He's a Fox News host. He said he could imagine that if she got in the room with dictators and others, they would have their way with her. That was so over the top that even the Fox women said to him, no. They said that there were sexual overtones, and there are. Have your way with her? So you've seen all kinds of things come out against her, but I think that what they're doing, because she has basically not responded to any of this BS. Her people have, but she hasn't. It's like, okay, fine, whatever you have to say. I'm still running for president. I'm still going to whip your behind, and you just need to, shut the you-know-what up. But it's cringing. It's cringing the way that these men, Republican men in particular, feel that they can talk about this woman. Now, speaking of Republican men, Jack Smith is time enough for the former president. So he thought he was off the hook on the secret documents, the documents case. Smith has come back and said, He went through the Supreme Court decision that said that basically Trump was off the hook, but they also laid some conditions which he could be back on the hook. And Smith has come back, and Tuesday, they said, we're going to look at this. We may still have a case. So he thinks he's off the hook. The only thing that's going to save him is winning the election. That's the only thing, because then he'll pardon himself. But other than that, if he can't win the election, he can go to jail. And that, there's still cases against him. He can go to jail. What we know now, Lyndia, is that the people are drilling down on what we're calling the 8-state solution. There are 8 swing states that are in play. They are Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, Nevada, Arizona, North Carolina, and Georgia. There are also some who say that Florida may well be in play. The chair of the Florida Democratic Party, Nikki Fine, I believe her name is a young sister who has her sleeves rolled up, and she's not playing. So we have these states that can be flipped. And so when we look at these states, look at what the deal is. The new indictment is going to turn more people against the former president. But as President Obama said just on Tuesday, he said, don't get it twisted. We have to do the work. So many people came out of the Democratic Convention high. The Republicans want to call it a sugar high. They say, they just high. It's like a bump. But it's more than a bump. When we look at what's happening, we look at these states, essentially they're tilting more towards Harris. However, there is a lot of work that needs to be done. And right now, the big debate is about the debate. For the longest time, the former president, he wasn't going to debate, he wasn't going to do this, he wasn't going to do that. Okay, stay home. She said she would be at ABC Studios on September 10th for the debate. He has shilly-shallied and finally conceded on Tuesday that he indeed will be there. The big argument is about whether or not the mic should be open or closed. I believe the Harris team wants them open because you never know what's going to come out of that man's mouth. We don't believe that he could be still and act like a grown-up for 90 minutes, the duration of the debate.
That's right.
And the way that he dealt with President Biden, we know that even when his mic is off, he's going to be mumbling and gesticulating and doing all of that. But the Harris campaign has said keep the mics on. Trump says he wants his off. Either way, they will have a debate. He wants more debates. He wants to meet at Fox News. She's not going to do that. They may eke another debate out of it, but it depends on how this one on September 10th goes. Can he behave himself? Does he have anything about public policy to say? Now, the R's are saying that we don't have any public policy. I say we because I am a Democrat. But they're saying that we don't have anything to offer. If you listen to Vice President Harris's speech, she offered a lot. She said parents of newborns will get a $6,000 grant. Think about it, Lyndia. You know how it is if you're at the bottom of the income distribution. Can you buy diapers? Can you buy a bassinet? And that's going to be a boom for people. She said she wants to expand the child tax credit. We know that the last time the child tax credit was instituted, it pulled millions of children out of poverty. She says she wants to provide a housing allowance, not a housing allowance, but a housing subsidy. If you're trying to buy your first home, $25,000 is there for you. So don't tell me she doesn't have any programs. She has joy and she has program. But there's a guy from the New York Times. He wrote an article, I think on Sunday. He said, joy is not a strategy. And my response to him is, neither is snark, because it was a very snarky kind of column. But at the end of the day, here's the deal. What's the opposite of joy? It's wretchedness. It's wretchedness. It's misery. Is that what you want, people? Do you want misery? She's going to fill in some of the blanks. But right now, it's clear that she's in a great place and she's putting ideas out there. Those who haven't heard them simply weren't listening. So we've got a few weeks for this thing to come down. And I think that our vice president is in good shape.
I think so, yes. Dr. Julianne, this is good. I really have enjoyed your update, especially about what was going on at the convention. I wanted to just add, here at home, when they went through the roll call, I don't know if they did there, but they showed the Republican roll call and the old lady that was running it, and our DJ, and I was in here hollering. We had so much fun watching it. They just kept showing different states that were done over there and then comparing it to ours. It's like, oh my God, this is so different. It's like it made people want to be in our party.
Absolutely. I didn't see the Republican, but I've been to so many conventions. I know that the roll call is usually like one of the most boring. You just sit there and say,
it was horrible.
But this thing was fire. But the whole thing was fire. I mean, it was John Legend. Come on.
Yeah.
Fire. With Patty, fire.
And Oprah, she even came in there.
Yeah, Oprah came and fire. I mean, basically, it was very mindfully orchestrated to bring out the best in people. And so, I flipped and flopped because I really didn't have any official role. I went on assignment to do some work. I really didn't have any official role. So I'm like, I can do this from the TV. And then finally I said, get your hind parts up and get there.
And go. That's right.
And I'm so glad that I did.
I almost went, and it was the transportation getting back to your hotel that kind of threw me off. I just didn't know if I felt like it because I had been on a trip, and my energy level was a little bit low. So I thought I better stay here and watch from the TV. So I'm glad I did, based on what you're saying. But it was good.
The transportation was challenging. Transportation was challenging. But I had my cane, and one day I had to use a wheelchair, and I did not mind. And that's the other thing. The people were so kind. They were so nice. So a woman saw me stumble a little bit, and she said, "Are you okay?" I said, "I'm fine. I'm good." And she said, "No, I'm going to get you a wheelchair." And I was able to do what I had to do, but I would have toughed it out because you know me. Yeah. She's like, "No, I'm going to get you a wheelchair." And people were just so helpful and kind. And it really was like a family reunion. When you saw the colored girls, you saw your elected officials that were friends you were friends with. You saw, but more than the vibe was joy. Like I said, we got joy and we got public policy. We have both. Not only that.
I want you to know when Jesse Jackson came out there, I went into tears because, I did that bronze bust of him. And all I could do at that moment, because I didn't know he was so far gone that he can't even talk anymore, tears just ran down my face. So it was good to see him just waving to the people. But evidently he can't even talk. Can't even talk now, can he?
Well, he mumbles.
Okay.
And there are people around him who can understand him. If you haven't been around him a lot, you really can't understand him. But people around him like Shelly Davis, who works with him, has worked with him for years, his daughter Santita, they can understand what he's saying. So, he'll say something, and they'll tell you what he said. But no, and the later if you get him early in the morning, you might be able to understand it. But the later the day goes on, the less likely it is that he's going to be able to. And
so that's probably why they chose not to give him the mic, so they knew that people might not know what he was saying. Well,
people wanted him to take the mic, but he wouldn't. He wouldn't, and we all love him so much. As I said to somebody, there would be no Kamala where there not no Jackson. So we just have to make the connection. He's the first one who had the nerve as a black man to run for president. People say, you can't run. He said, oh, yes, I can. And now people are saying about Kamala, your black woman can't win. And she's like, yes, I can. That audacity has been passed from Jackson, to Obama, to Harris.
All right. Well, that does it for this week, Dr. Julianne. I appreciate you for being our guest today. You brought us up to date on things that we didn't see. And so we just appreciate you for giving our politics for us this week.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lyndia.
And we'll talk to you again next week. Will you just do the first segment? All right. That does it for the Lyndia Grant Show. We're going to be back again next Friday, and we hope that you all have a great weekend. We always say, as we close our show, life and death is in the power of the tongue. All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Lyndia Grant Show. Think on these things with your host, Lyndia Grant.